Sens, and welcome back to an all-new episode of Let's Talk About Star Wars. I am so sorry that I was not here last Sunday to bring you Star Wars goodness on your Sunday. I got my second COVID vaccine last Saturday, and it absolutely whipped me. So I decided to take it slow and not produce a video last Sunday, but I'm back with so much goodness this week. I am so excited to talk to you about 3 books. And then I finally got one of my pre-orders from back in December, which I'm going to be sharing with all of you. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about a book that came out just last week. And that is Kristin Baver's absolutely fantastic Skywalker, A Family at War book, which is just, I really enjoyed this. It's about 300 pages long, and I read it in a really short period of time. I like, as soon as I start reading a book, and if it like really captures me, I just like get lost in it, and I just keep flipping pages and just like finish the book. And this is just one of those books that as soon as I started reading it, like I was really excited for this book. I am really like excited to support authors when they are putting out their very first Star Wars book, and Kristin is such a sweetheart and so kind and just a wonderful light in the Star Wars fandom. So I was like super excited when this was announced that she was going to be writing her very first Star Wars book. You love to see Star Wars fans then go on to work for Star Wars and then go on to write for Star Wars. It's very exciting to see that happen. And also, like, the topic of this book was really interesting to me. As a historian, I kind of like this idea of having this quote-unquote historical text looking at the Skywalker family. So like it instantly caught my interest, and I just devoured it in no time. It's so good. And I think that, you know, if you've seen my intro video here, and have heard my past episodes, you know that I have a lot of problems with The Rise of Skywalker. That's not going away. So I definitely had reservations about reading this book in terms of like how it connects to The Rise of Skywalker, because there were a lot of choices that were made in that film that I personally don't agree with, and I acknowledge them as one has to, because it is a Star Wars film. But at the same time, I was nervous to see how it would be handled in Kristin's book. You know, for what it's worth, I think that they handled the topic of Ben Solo extremely well. Actually, I wore my Kylo Ren t-shirt today because of that. You know, I really don't like the choices that were made in the movie in terms of Kylo Ren and Ben Solo, but I think Kristin did a really brilliant, fantastic job at connecting his story and his demise to the larger picture of the Skywalker family, and it's just laid out in a really compelling way that almost makes it work. Like, it still will never work for me, but I think that she did the best that she could do with the narrative choices that were made in the final film. And there were just so many highlights in this book. Like, I really love the stuff about Qui-Gon Jinn. I thought that was really interesting. I really loved some of the deeper insight into Anakin. And what's great is, like, everything that's in this book has been seen in other books, has been seen in comics, has been seen in the films, subsequent, you know, series and pieces of information that we already knew. But to see it all combined into one book, really detailing everything there is to know about the Skywalker story, legacy, and loss, was just really interesting. I really feel like for people who didn't like Ben Solo, I am just going to keep talking about Ben Solo. I feel like for people who didn't like Ben Solo, or who willingly ignored some of the stuff that we learned in the Rise of Kylo Ren comics, or in the One Snoke comic, or in The Last Shot, or in the books about Leia. Like, we've learned a lot about Ben, but so much of it was not in the films. And so I think a lot of people chose to be willfully ignorant of aspects of his story just because they either didn't want to read the books, which I understand. Like, not everybody has to read the books to understand things, but then when people would tell them about parts of his storyline, they would just dismiss it because, oh, well, if it's in the books, it doesn't matter. No, it does. Like, it's definitely part of his story. And so I think that this book does a really good job to to connect all of those pieces, all of that information that those of us who love Ben Solo and Kylo Ren have already known, and to make it in such a compelling and sympathetic story, that this is definitely like really good, and not, I guess, redeeming those of us who have already loved Ben, and gives a really great opportunity to make other people feel the same way. But this is just such a great book. If you haven't picked it up, you should pick it up. I loved it. I'm kind of sad that I read it as fast as I did, because like I've already reread parts of it again just to be like, wait, what was that she said? I think one of the things that's so compelling about this is because of Kristin's background as a journalist and doing court reporting and crime reporting, is that there's a certain dedication to building a story, and not just being like, here's everything, but letting readers understand and absorb and see the connections. There's so many good connections in this book. I love the way that she connects parts of Shmi's story with Anakin's story, with Luke and Leia and Ben. And I think that it really just goes to say that the story works to an extent. I'm never going to be happy with the choices they made about things at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. But I think it works really well in making it make sense, and also kind of connecting it to this bigger picture and how it connects within the universe that we all love. So if you haven't picked it up, seriously, pick this up. You won't regret it. It's a really great book. And if you don't want to read about The Rise of Skywalker, just don't read the last 4 chapters. And then just read all the stuff about the prequels and the original trilogy, because it's really good. I promise you, it is really good. So that is one thing. This was what I was going to talk about last Sunday. So now I got to talk about it this Sunday. I'm also really excited about another book that I got this week in the mail. Seriously, it was so exciting. I'm a big fan of Amy Ratcliffe. I'm also a big fan of The Art of books. You might have remembered me talking about The Art of Mandalorian earlier last year. So I have been at home since the start of quarantine last March, longing to go back to Galaxy's Edge. My trip to Disney World was the last thing I did. That was big before the world ended last year. So seeing that there was going to be an Art of Galaxy's Edge book just filled me with so much joy, because I long to go back to Batuu. As soon as everyone is vaccinated and the world is finally maybe sort of kind of back to normal, I'm ready to go to Disney World. But this came this week. It is so good. I'm going to be writing a review about it later this week. But oh my God, this comes out on April 27th from Abrams Books. It's written by Amy Ratcliffe, and it goes through so much about the Outpost and about Batuu and about how they designed the whole park, and it's just gorgeous. So if you haven't pre-ordered this book yet, please pre-order it. You will not regret it. This book is beautiful. Again, it comes out. Look at it. Look at Batuu. Look at the movie. I miss it. But it comes out on April 27th. It is available everywhere to pre-order. Buy it. You will not regret it. If you love all of the TV show and movie art of books, this will be perfectly at home with your collection. So huge shout out to Abrams Books for sending this over to me for a review over at Your Money Geek. This book is just everything. It is so good. So that's another one of my packages this week that just filled me with so much joy. And then last but not least, I did talk about this one 2 episodes ago. But I have it in hardback. The newest Thrawn book is coming out this week. I've lost track of the days, so it is out on the 27th, same day as the Art of Galaxy's Edge book. I haven't gotten to read it yet. I am so behind on my to be read pile. But if you read the first book, you're going to want to read the second book. This is such a great trilogy. It has all the makings of being another one-of-a-kind, must-read trilogy for Star Wars. And of course, Timothy Zahn is just brilliant, as always. So I'm really excited about diving into that, hopefully this week before it comes out. because I do need to get that review out. So those are the 3 books that I got this week. I am just so happy and so excited about all the new Star Wars books. Counting the days down until Cavan Scott's next The High Republic book comes out. I guess it's June, which is not that far away. I'm really excited about that. The High Republic is always something that I am ready to read more of and talk about more with all of you. And then I also have one last thing to share. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, I got one of my pre-orders, and I've got one right here. So I am going to dive into that to share with all of you. Here is Bo-Katan. I pre-ordered her back in December, and I'm so excited. I'm also super glad that they chose to have her helmet off so that you can actually see the sculpt. I hate when they have the helmets on because I know that some people like to keep their figures inside of boxes. I am not one of those people, so I am now going to open my figure to show you how she looks outside of the box. So look away if you are a figure collector who keeps your figures inside of boxes. I'm about to break your hearts. But if you're like me and you want to free the figure, stick around because I'm going to get Bo-Katan out of this box. It's a bit like rescuing a Mandalorian from like carbonite, I feel. But the box is really nice, and I think the thing about the Black Series boxes is that you can like keep them. So I do have my Cal Kestis figure is still inside the box just because it was easier for me to display him in the box. But I don't want to leave Bo-Katan in the box. I'm also kind of running out of room for boxes. I also have my Poe Dameron figure from the Disney store inside of his box. But that's all of my Funkos are out, aside from my John Boyega action figure Funko Pop that's signed. That one deserves to be inside of a fancy case. I really should have brought like an X-Acto knife. Okay, it is almost open. So thank you for bearing with me as I try to open this box on camera without a X-Acto knife. I have the knife anywhere. But I do have a couple other figures that are on pre-order. So those should be coming in eventually, I guess. So I think I mentioned a couple episodes back that I had initially pre-ordered the Mando helmet from Amazon. I ended up canceling that order, and I bought myself a bow and arrow instead because I figured that was a better use of my money than having another piece of merchandise that was just going to sit on my bookshelf in my room and never really get used. But now that I'm seeing everybody with their helmets, I'm starting to get jealous. It's really cool. Like, I was never going to wear it. I wasn't like going to make a Mando costume or anything like that, sadly. But it was something I had considered briefly. And there she is. You see, that's the thing I like about these boxes. Like, they're super easy to open so you can keep them if you do decide to put your figure back inside. So here she is. So this is like an actual, like, sorry, this is a lot of noise, but this is like a really well done sculpt. It looks just like Katie Sackhoff. Like, see if I can get that. Well, it's not focusing. So you'll just have to believe me. This looks just like Katie. Which, you know, just goes to show that they really don't know how to capture the beauty that is Pedro Pascal, since the Mando figures leave something to be desired. Let's see. Here's her little night owls. Her helmet goes on. Perfectly fits over her head. She's got two weapons that come out very nice. Let's see how they fit. So I think this is for the most part, sold out most places. It'll probably go back in. Oh, that's difficult. So it's kind of hard to stick it in her hand. Let's see. Okay, works in her left hand. Right hand is posing a little bit of a challenge. Her grip's a little difficult. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So there she is. You can put her weapons into her hands. You can also take them out. She has little holsters for them. Do they fit? They fit into the holsters perfectly. Let's see. I don't need her to be weaponed. Does her little jetpack come off too? Her jetpack comes off. That's nice. It's clearly not meant to like stay off though, because her back's kind of funny looking without it. But yeah, this build is like perfect. I wish they would do this for Din Djarin as well. Really great articulation. Her elbows don't bend super well, but her head, you can like nod her head, bend it around, which is kind of cool. So if you can find Bo-Katan in stock anywhere and you are a Black Series collector, I would recommend picking her up. So she's going to go on my shelf next to Moff Gideon and the Darksaber. I have my little Funko Pop Moff that she will sit next to. I did not take I do have my Din Black Series with helmet on, so I'll probably put her up there next to him. But yeah, 100%, always a fan of Black Series that are well sculpted. So highly recommend this figure. That's really all that I had to share this week. I had the 3 books to talk about and my Bo-Katan. So as always, thank you so much for watching and for listening and for subscribing and for liking and commenting and all of those things that YouTubers say. I really missed doing this last week, and I'm happy to be back talking about Star Wars things. We are just a few weeks away from having The Bad Batch. A trailer, of course, just recently dropped. So there's so much Star Wars on the horizon. I'm really hoping that we get some really cool announcements on May the 4th. We've had so many toy drops here recently, which I have abstained from, but so many really cool toy drops that it's gotten me really excited to know if we're going to get more toy drops on May the 4th. It's kind of weird that like so much stuff has come out ahead of that day, especially with there being like that 70-minute Bad Batch episode and then the next one on a Friday. There's a lot of content coming out. I have my fingers crossed that we get a Cassian Andor teaser, or even maybe a Book of Boba Fett teaser, but I'm honestly not getting my expectations too high. But they have to have something. They have to have something ready to like wow us with. May the 4th is usually the biggest day of the year for news outside of Disney Investors Day. So I'm really hopeful. I just absolutely love to see some Cassian goodness. I really enjoyed the teaser they shared with us back in December during the Disney Investors Day. So here's to hoping that in a few weeks we'll have so much excitement for new Star Wars content and new series. And I always love talking with all of you or talking into my camera and then reading your comments later. Always love doing that and talking Star Wars with all of you. So as always, may the Force be with you.